everybody.
Just a quick thing, we're going to try and rattle through this as quickly as possible so we can all get to the opening ceremony in good time, so don't panic about that.
No promises.
Yeah, don't run away, please.
So, hello everybody. We are doing a YouTube panel because we happen to be YouTubers.
Really?
The reason that we're doing this basically isn't to show you... Is this even on?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't hear myself. It's basically just to help you guys get involved with YouTube. It's not to show you funny videos, it's not to say, oh look at how good we are. It's to try and get you guys involved in creating content and to basically make your own YouTube channel, get involved in the anime community specifically, and everyone will be real happy. So I'm assuming that a lot of you don't actually know who we are, so we've made a little video to sort of demonstrate the sorts of videos that we make, and hopefully you laugh. How do you play video?
Oh wow.
That's really loud.
What's that?
Emily, what are you doing? Why are you in my house?
Nice cream?
Free ended 2 months ago, Ebby. You need to get over it and start making videos again. You haven't made a video since then.
What I'm sad.
Sort yourself out. Haru's gone.
Why would you say that to me?
What? It's not Talk of the Ring going.
Well, I do know one way to restore magic, guys. You have to transfer some of your magical circuits.
And Shiro's like, oh brilliant, let's do that. Which leads to some precarious fondling, Shiro falling down a big hole. Penetration metaphor! Landing in some lava-looking stuff. Passion metaphor! And then he gets attacked by a CGI dragon. What the hell just happened? Metaphor.
Our final question tonight comes from the internet, and has slowly risen into the common dialects of internet community, and that is, why won't senpai notice me? For those that know, a senpai is a term given to someone who is respected or of a higher rank, in the same way that this dice is this dice's senpai, because this dice went to school a year before this dice did. But back to the question of why won't senpai notice me? One of the most tried methods of getting a senpai to notice you is to wait around for 24 episodes. Through the course of some wacky events, eventually senpai will come to notice you and love you. But I'm here today to say that that method takes too long and it is way overdone. And so today I am going to show you a quicker and more effective way of getting senpai to notice you. One such way of getting senpai to notice you would be to wear an interesting hat. By wearing an interesting looking hat, you will stand out from the rest of your peers, and therefore be more attractive to your senpai's eye.
Best video.
Assistant Santo was not Bakuman.
I know Japanese already. These things really work. I can tell you that kimono is Japanese. For kimono? Genius. There's more of these too. You've got kendo, ninja, nendoroid. Very subtle, Danny.
Now some might argue the merits of having a Pokemon coffee mug. Not me though. I've drunk a hot beverage out of this about twice, and most of the time it just holds my pencils, which, coming to think of it, I don't think I'll wash this before I drink out of it.
And the other 144 episodes of the series are about playing American football and working together to get better at playing American football and, you know, running really fast! Wow! Look how fast he's running! Wow!
Right. All that's left to do is decide which of you two is my favourite. I do love knee socks, but as much as I do, Scanty, she's got, oh my god, she's got biscuits! Oh yes, best girl!
So you can see he's got a Kingdom Hearts 2 outfit and his new haircut, which is pretty much the same, and he's got his Keyblade as well, and shit. What Tensei Twister doesn't tell you in his videos is that blue tack is excellent for keeping figures together.
Oh, please say they're gonna do like a muscle fashion show. What the hell?
Yes!
Huge fish, come on. What?
Yu Yu Hakusho takes place in a setting of 3 worlds. The living world, which is our world, the spirit world, which is the afterlife, and the demon world, which is the world where the demons live, if you could figure out from the name.
Take this, and don't give up hope. I may have given up on merchandise a long time ago, but I never gave up on this one. They delayed and delayed her, until Alta finally released her in 2046. I thought that you could put it to better use than me, and change my dark future. Here.
Oh, wicked! Suzuha? She finally came out last month after I've been waiting for like a year. I've been really looking forward to reviewing this one.
Good. Then my work here is done.
The next question is very close to my heart and goes, can Pokemon only say their name, or are they named after the only thing they can say? To solve this one, we're going to have to cross live to AmeChibi. AmeChibi? Thanks, AmeChibi. AmeChibi here with a special report from 1996. Currently, we are looking for and naming Pokemon. Let's start. Ah, that one says Pikachu a lot. We should call it Pikachu. What's next? Charmander, eh? I like the cut of your jib. You're in. Who's next?
Okay, guys, go get him!
What the hell kind of name's that? Back to you in the studio.
It all started to go a little bit wrong with those CGI seagulls in the OP that aren't even almost relevant. Oh my gosh, Abby put a reverse harem on her worst list of the year. The world is actually ending.
A lot more dancing than I realised.
So that's
Getting ready for
basically,
later.
that's basically what we do on YouTube, very abridged. So we're just gonna like introduce ourselves, so you guys.
Next slide.
Oh
It's
yeah.
got our
What about
banners.
that?
And we're actually sitting in the order that we put on there.
Are we really?
Oh, wow.
That's amazing. That is planning right there.
Awesome. So my name's Ebby. I run a channel called Bizarre Jelly 5 where I do. Is this?
It's on.
It doesn't sound like it's on. So I do reviews, little vlogs, haul videos, basically anything that I enjoy doing, I put on my channel, and that's basically all that I do. There you go.
Hi, I'm Pat. I have a channel called AmeChibi, and I promise to do reviews and random content and whatever you just saw then. And yeah, I try and come up with some regular content, and I quite enjoy it.
I'm Alan, also known as Backashift. I pretty much exclusively make anime reviews, a couple of other bits here and there, but pretty much all my content has a really heavy emphasis on like really crazy visual editing. That's kind of my thing.
I'm Cam. My channel is Tensei Twister, and I pretty much specialise in anime figures and merchandise and stuff like that. And I review them and basically try to make reviews as entertaining as possible by being stupid and dancing a lot. I have like 2 main shows that run on my channel. So I've got Figure It Out, which is the more in-depth figure reviews of like scale figures and stuff like that, which are designed to be entertaining rather than informative. And then I've got Chansu or Pantsu as well, which is where I get like a random piece of anime crap and try to decide whether it's worth buying or not. So that's what I do. Yay!
So for this panel, we're going to be following the journey of Panda. Panda wants to start doing YouTube because he's very lazy, and he doesn't want to really work for a living. So you have to ask yourself the question, why do you want to do YouTube? I know a lot of people seem to think that YouTube is this super easy thing to get into and make a lot of money from really quickly, and that's not really the case in most circumstances. It's very, very rare that that happens. So if you're doing it for something like monetary gain or fame or whatever, reconsider that a little bit first. What did you want to say?
And basically, one of the main reasons why we started YouTube and why YouTube is such a good idea in general is it's just a really fun, creative and rewarding hobby. And I mean, if anyone out there has any sort of creative hobbies, things they like to express themselves online, and just a good way to get your personality out there and just kind of have a lot of fun making things and doing things that you otherwise wouldn't be doing.
How to get started with figuring out what you want to do. So the first thing, you need to ask yourself basically 4 questions before you even start YouTube, which is, what do you want to make? So this can be reviews or critique videos or news videos. If you're really into cosplay, you could make cosplay tutorials, something like that, whatever you want to do, really. The other question is, how do you want to present yourself? So do you want to come across as really professional, or do you want to come across as someone who is having a chat with their friends? There is like a middle ground where you can be semi-professional but still really friendly at the same time, which is where I think most people end up falling. But you have to ask yourself that as well. How do you want to present your content? This is really important before you start YouTube, because you need to start buying the right equipment for what you want to do. So if you want to do videos with your face on, you obviously have to buy a camera. If you want to do videos that are just you talking over some anime footage, you can do that. You just need a really good microphone. And the last one is, do you have any other hobbies you can work with? I've basically already said, if you're really into cosplay and you want to make videos about cosplay, you can do that. If you write reviews on Hummingbird for fun and you want to make them into a video format, do that. If you don't have anything that you can specifically work with now, don't worry about it, because you can figure that out as you go. You just learn as you make more and more videos what you're good at, like you're good at presenting, or you're good at scripting or editing or whatever. So just go with it for now and see where it takes you, is the best advice, really.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
The one piece of advice that I would give is, don't paygate yourself into saying, oh, I can't make this video, or I can't do what I want to do because I haven't got the perfect equipment that I want. If you want to do audio-based stuff, just get a microphone and just do it. And then when you can afford a better microphone, get a better microphone. Because if you don't do it, you won't get better at it. And then when you are able to get the piece of equipment that you think is satisfactory, you're going to see a massive increase in quality. Because if I just waited until I had the right equipment, I would have never even started.
A big trap that a lot of people will fall into if they're looking to start a YouTube channel is a case of they will have all of these creators in mind and people that they watch and think, this is the kind of stuff I like. And then they have a hard trouble figuring out what it is they exactly want to do. But even though there are so many other things out there that you like and that you watch, no one has made content made by you before, basically. So what you want to aim to do is put as much of yourself in it as possible, and that's going to make your journey through YouTube a hell of a lot easier in the long run.
It's fun.
So Panda's starting his next step of his journey. He's buying his equipment. So again, this is basically just reiterating what we said. You need to get some basic equipment to get started. It doesn't have to be anything expensive, like the equipment that we have 4 years into doing this or 3 years into doing this. You just need to have basic equipment. If you can't afford a proper camera, just buy a webcam and work with that for a little bit. Get yourself some editing software. You can use Windows Movie Maker if you really want to. Don't suggest it, but you can. And a lamp for some lighting, a tripod, it can be a stack of books. You can really work with anything as long as you are willing to put up with the fact that you might make your camera fall over, I suppose. So after you've gotten all your equipment and stuff, you're going to start scripting videos. And scripting videos is something that is super, super personal to what, I don't know, how you want your channel to come across. I don't know if anyone has anything particular to say about scripting that they want to say.
With what I do on YouTube, I've always found scripting and writing in general to be my weakest point. It's not really what I do. I've had experience in the past with editing and creating videos and skits and things like that. So when it came to this, whereas Casey Lee, you're kind of writing a very sort of formulaic essay or a freeform essay of anything you want to do and then applying that to video. And to keep things simple for myself, when I'm making an anime review, I basically just break it down into the obvious sections of an introduction into a story, then characters, then visuals, then sound. And a very great way that other people do videos will be free-forming around, just finding logical ways to transition between points. But because I don't consider myself much of a writer, I will basically go through whichever method is as easy as possible for me with as many notes as I have whilst I've been watching the show.
I'm awful at scripting. Despite being quite a good writer, I would say myself, I don't script very well at all, mainly because I'm terrible for ad-libbing, so I will deviate from my own scripts while I'm recording and hate myself for it, because I'll start talking following the script and then I'll move on to something else and talk myself into a corner and then think, right, well, how do I segue this back into what the point that I was actually trying to make? So in a way to sort of remedy that, the way I do it is, the way I used to do it when making figure reviews is I used to get the figure in front of me, look at it, write the script that way. Now what I do, then I would get all the footage. Now what I do is I collect the footage first and then script around the footage that I've got. And I find that a lot easier because I can basically just transcribe what I want to say and then kind of follow that back. So it really just goes to show how there are so many different paths you can take to organising your content in terms of scripting. Or you can be like Pat and don't script at all.
Yeah, well, that is kind of what I do. I started out by trying to script and I fell into that trap of sounding like I did read from a script, and it was very stoic. This is my review. I am reviewing this show today. And it just didn't work for me. The most scripting I will do is I'll write dot points and I will sort of free fall from there and sort of try and form my opinions, which is a bugger later on when you're editing. But it's more or less about what you feel comfortable doing. If you want to write out a thesis on exactly the best points of your favourite shows, then that might be the best format for you.
So finding your own style with scripting comes with time, like I think has been mentioned. You aren't going to be brilliant at making a really concise script immediately, but what I would suggest is just to fact check, like if you put in that it's made in 2013 and it was actually made in 2012, people will pick up on that rather than actually giving you constructive criticism about other things.
The YouTube anime community is very nitpicky.
Yeah, just a warning.
If you make a spelling mistake, you will be murdered.
There's never everything, not just the anime community.
Ever try and pronounce anything?
Another couple of things is, if you're reviewing, don't put spoilers in the review. I know a lot of people do kind of like to put spoilers in their videos, but why a lot of people go to reviews is to see if they should check out a show, not to get it spoiled for them. So if you are going to spoil it, at least put a spoiler warning in, because that's why people tend to go to reviews. And another thing is, if you're working on a script and it just isn't working for you, just leave it. Just go away, do something else for a bit and come back to it, and you might have gotten over that writer's block. Don't torture yourself with the fact that you can't do that specific script.
This is more of a general writer's tip rather than a video tip, but it applies to scripting quite heavily. I've done it a couple of times. You can slave away at a script for ages, but don't be afraid to just go, this isn't working, and delete the entire thing and start again. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to do that, because it's much better to do that, start again, and get a fresh script that you actually like, than force yourself through the one that you're not getting on with, and then end up with a lackluster video at the end.
Alright, so next is filming. After you've got your script and you're really happy with what you've got and you really want to present it, if you are doing it in a visual, with your face style, you need to film. With filming, you need to make sure that the lighting is good. You don't want to make it so that your face is really either overly bright or you can't see it, because that's not attractive. People aren't going to come back to your videos for that specific reason if your lighting sucks, because for some reason it's one of those big things that people make a real big deal about. The next is something called burning the lens, which is basically if you are doing face-to-face, face-to-camera videos, you have to look directly into the lens, and that's what a lot of people call burning the lens. It's like keeping eye contact with someone, but with a camera. It sort of brings that wall down between you, because it seems like you're talking directly to your viewer base rather than off to the side or reading off a script, basically. Alan doesn't do this.
No. As you'll see in a clip in a moment, when I started, I was exceptionally uncomfortable in front of a camera. I just stood there and I saw this thing in front of me that I thought was like some sort of gun. And it's something I gradually got used to, because I originally started being very, very shy in front of the camera. I didn't do any of this. I don't do some of that now. Like, I'm still not particularly great in front of a camera, and when you see any of my videos, you will be able to notice that I am straight up reading off of a script, which is an inch below my camera. But when I first started, I was always out of frame, I was always out of focus, and I absolutely did not look at the camera. So there's always a starting point, and there's always a place to improve from there.
So as you said, the last two things, just keep yourself in frame and keep yourself in focus. Some of this you can fix in like editing, and if you can just like crop the video so it looks better, that's cool. But a lot of cameras have autofocus on them now anyway, so it's not as much of an issue unless you're using really professional equipment, which you probably won't be getting until later into it if you really enjoy doing YouTube, which you might not, but you might. So you're gonna have to ignore a horrible face for a second. You're not gonna be great at YouTube at first, and I know that sounds really defeatist, but the good thing about this is that you have a lot of room to get better and really find yourself with your videos. So we're going to show you clips from each of our first videos on the channels that we have now, and they're bad, so I apologise in advance.
We're all exceptionally embarrassed about showing any of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's video response. I'm a bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I'm Ebby, by the way, hi there. So I'm here to talk to you about number 6, Studio Bones, decent sounding plot, interesting character designs, and I was really, really ready to be wowed by this show. But at the end of the day, I guess I just wasn't. I'm not gonna be too kind on this series, so if you're a big fan of number 6, then just click away, go. I don't want people to hate me already.
Alan here, and welcome to the very first in what I hope to become a weekly series of anime reviews on this here channel. But knowing me, I'll probably end up missing a week here and there. I'll try not to though. Anyway, decided to have a look at Guilty Crown first, as I had a lot of mixed opinions on the show the first time I watched it and felt like having another go. With that out of the way, let's get straight to it. Hello everyone, and welcome to this the first of 2 pilots for a new show. It's called Chansu or Pansu. It's a show where I take little bits of, maybe even big bits, large chunks of anime and manga related merchandise, and I declare it whether it's a Chansu or it's Pansu. Both of those words are Japanese. You may recognise Chansu being the word for opportunity, and Pansu being the word for complete shite.
Hi there, welcome to my channel AmeChibi. My name's Pat, and this is my video introduction for the 12 Days of Anime. Last year I saw a couple of the YouTubers I watched up to Daz during Bizarre Jelly 5 doing 12 Days of Anime, and I wanted to do it, but I didn't quite get it in on time, so this year I'm giving it a go.
Sorry.
Completely different.
But we'll talk about that in a second, but the good news is that it gets better. Panda's trying really hard and getting better at making videos, and it does get better, and before we talk about anything about recording our first videos, I'm actually going to show the second video so it makes more sense in context. Here we go.
I present to you how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! According to the anime. Step number 1, you can just summon fusion monsters. Forget about polymerization or the compatible cards in your deck. You only need those sometimes, if you feel like it. Step number 2, field advantages are a thing. It just depends on where you are in the world. Forget about those plebeian field spell cards. Who needs those when you can just play near a sink and throw your ocean-themed monsters into the water instead? Step number 3, attack whenever you want. It doesn't even really need to be your turn. You see that face down card? Kill it. Your opponent probably doesn't need to set any traps anyway. Step number 4, summon as many things as you want. You know that rule about only summoning one monster per turn? Doesn't count. Bam, first turn dragons. Step number 5, you can play your monster cards as traps. I don't know why you would do this, but you can apparently.
But now unfortunately the fanfare has to stop, because whilst I do adore everything on the design front of this series, the animation is quite frankly terrible in a lot of places. I mean, it's not awful the entire time, and if the show was consistently animated to the quality of some of its better moments, I'd have nothing to complain about. There were, however, a lot of parts in the show that were completely hideous and actually had me laughing at how bad it was. Who needs in-between animation, am I right? Who needs to have eyeballs, am I right? Who needs to... Wait, what the fuck is wrong with the face?
That's strange. My legs are moving, but I'm not moving. This is the story of my soul. PVC is my body, and joints are my blood. They have created over 200 people. Unknown to space, unknown to cost. Have withstood poverty to buy many figures. Yet, this collection will never be complete. So as I pray, unlimited
I don't pretend to be an expert, but I do pretend to know lots of things. Such as in this question, which comes to us from 2002. Depending on how narrow your field of search is, this question may be referring to Yugi, Yami Yugi, Goku, that kid from Hunter x Hunter, Ash with his hat off, this guy with his hat off, Sonic the Hedgehog. But if you're sticking to the source material, and you probably are, you may be referring to...
Okay, so as you can see, we've each been on YouTube for a separate amount of time, but we have improved since those first videos. Don't know if you can tell. So yeah, just keep making videos. Like, if you feel like you suck at first, it's fine. I feel like everybody feels like they suck at first, or at least could improve. So just keep making things until you're really, really happy with them, and it's super rewarding.
Okay, I was quite lucky with the first couple of videos I did. I got in with a program called the 12 Days of Anime, which is just a lead up to Christmas, where you did 12 videos for 12 days about 12 favourite moments over the year. And because I had to do that constant content, I had 12 days to get better over. And definitely by that last day I thought, you know what, I can keep this going. This is something I'm quite enjoying. People are talking to me in this community, and from then I just kept on progressing, or I like to think I did.
Yeah, as you could tell in that first video that we showed, I was completely terrified and nervous and soft-spoken when I first started making videos. This eventually translated into me forcing myself to not be nervous by jumping around in my seat like a lunatic and talking really fast, which you will see in a bit of a clip later. But that was something that I went with for a while, mainly because it was a way for me to get hype about what I'm talking about and not just sit there looking as if I want to die. And this, and this more recently has then transitioned to me taking a good mix of the two, where I'm kind of just leisurely going through what I need to talk about, being hype when I need to be hype, but staying on focus and staying concise without my chair being a trampoline.
I've been making like figure reviews and stuff for just over a year now, and what you'll find with my videos, if you go back and watch them, is my style changes with pretty much every episode, because I'm still trying to find what is optimal for me and what I think is the best that I can do, and I'm very frenetic and I'll like chop and change things on a whim just to see what works and what doesn't. So basically what I'm trying to say is don't be afraid to do that as well. You're going to get a gradual progression where your basic skills are going to get better over time, but don't be afraid to experiment, especially in the early stages, I think with me, I've been doing this for a long time, and I take the piss a little bit with how rapidly I change everything. I think my thumbnail designs have changed about 5 times over the past few months. But don't be afraid to do that. You know, it's always good to experiment with something else, because maybe you'll find something awesome.
Keep the microphone there. Because we're talking about editing.
Right, this is my baby.
Zardy Vegas.
Yeah. Some of these people here absolutely hate editing, and I hate some parts of editing. But this is my pride and joy. This is the part that I put by far the most time in, because it's kind of the bit that I sort of seem to be good at. And so as you can see here, this is the timeline from my last review of Gundam Build Fighters. A lot of these individual sections you see here have already been rendered out, so there was a lot that went into it. That lot took me a good sort of 40, 50 hours to finish in the end. But this isn't an essential thing for everyone. You can choose whatever editing style you want to choose, but it is pretty much essential, because you don't want to just upload this 20-minute video where only a good few minutes of it are actual sort of your concise thoughts, because you've been umming and ahhing and cutting out everything, and the stuff that we all do just naturally in speech. So cutting everything down is just going to make everything that you do, all the points you put across, blast way quicker. And you can do as much or as little as you want in this regard. You don't have to go full ham like I do. I'm a bit of a nutter. It takes me 2 weeks of solid editing to make a video, which is not the kind of schedule that's good for a lot of people. And so I use Sony Vegas. It's a program that I started using a long time ago before I actually did YouTube, because I used to just mess around doing silly videos here and there. It's a very sort of user-friendly and intuitive program, and I also use a lot of Photoshop on the side for graphics and things like that. But you can pretty much use anything. And anyone's computer, if you've got a Mac, you'll have built-in iMovie. Windows Movie Maker, whilst many people will laugh at it, is perfectly fine for just cutting together whatever you want to do.
There's nothing wrong with also using it for your first 70 or so videos.
Yeah. And I mean, Windows Movie Maker, from when I last used it 10 years ago, it's probably improved leaps and bounds from there anyway. But those are all free as well, and that's kind of the barrier of entry, is when things are expensive and you can just get started and get into wherever you want. And then from there on, you can move on up, go for things like Sony Vegas on Windows, or Final Cut Pro, or on Final Cut Pro on Macintosh. And then you can go for the full suite of Adobe Premiere and After Effects if you really want to push yourself over the edge. And with editing, the main way that you're going to improve is just by practicing and doing it a lot. I mean, when I first started, I was making a video a week, which is something I could never do that now, because it used to take me a day to edit a video. With all the stuff I do now, it takes me a good solid week, working 12 hours a day on a video. But with every week I did a new video, I improved each time, I learned new things, and that's what led me to kind of come up with my current style, where I sort of use a lot of transitions and stuff like that. And editing does take a long time, but once you get used to it, you're going to be able to find shortcuts and things like that. And once you do get good at what you're doing, it's not a case of anything being difficult, it's just a case of it being time consuming, so it's a matter of patience. And in terms of finding out what you want to do in editing, there are millions and millions of online tutorials, free resources, everything like that, all the kind of stuff you need to do in order to learn without having to go buy a book or anything like that. And to show some improvement here, I've got one of my earlier videos, well, not even one of my earlier videos, this is quite in the late stage, and you will see here my massive head bobbing and me going nuts trying to get hype instead of getting scared of the camera. And you'll see here, this is just basically my old style, how I used to talk about the technological side of the series, who worked on it and everything, and then I'm just going to show you what I do with that now.
Hello and welcome back, and I present to you a review of Free Iwatobi Swim Club, a 12-episode slice-of-life sports series based on the light novel series High Speed by Koji Oji. His name rhymes with itself, isn't that amazing? It aired during the summer season of 2013, was produced by the studio Kyoto Animation, was written by Masahiro Yokotani and directed by Hiroko Itsumi. So without any further ado, welcome back. I am Bakishift from TakuKato.com, and today I present to you a review of Psycho Pass. It's a 22-episode dystopian sci-fi crime thriller that began airing in the fall season of 2012, was produced by the studio Production IG, written by the man himself Gin Urobuchi, and directed by Katsuyuki Morihito. And it is really fucking good, so go and watch it. Bye!
So, pretty big major step up there. So the first video you saw there used to take me a few minutes. I'd make a couple of little slides on Photoshop, throw it in there, put it in when I said the word, and the latter takes hours and hours and hours, a full solid couple of days working but that's what I like to do. I like to look at my videos and be proud of what I make, and I prefer how the second one went.
Okay. So just briefly, another thing that you're going to want to work with is thumbnails. So thumbnails are something that if you have an account now, you might be able to get them now, but if you make an account when you go home from this convention, you might have to wait a couple of weeks or do a couple of things to make sure that you can get thumbnails, but it's well worth doing. So this is just some examples of thumbnails that we've used or are going to use in the future. Basically the point of this is, which video would you rather watch? Would you rather watch that one or would you rather watch that one?
I like the top one because it's got Pat's face on it.
So the next step in Panda's journey is a sad one. He's got some content ID going on. And this is super boring stuff to talk about, but it's something that's so essential to know about going into YouTube, because they have a lot of automatic systems that will stop you from being able to monetize your video, block your country, block your video in certain countries, and it's not good, basically. So fair use basically means that you can use some copyrighted material for review and parody purposes. In its most basic form, there are a lot of like stipulations. It's really complicated. And if you upload a song and put in the description, this is fair use, that's not fair use. What is fair use is taking clips from an anime to demonstrate certain things like the animation aspect or certain things. Uploading a whole episode is not fair use, but using it to comment on the show is fair use.
A pitfall a lot of people seem to fall into with fair use. I'll preface this by saying that this is apparent in anything that you're going to be doing, unless you are literally just doing videos of your own face. Doesn't matter whether you're doing anime, games, anything like that. Content ID is something that you're probably going to run into at some point in your life. And like I say, a pitfall that people fall into is they'll put some footage of an anime on their on their video, and they'll be talking about the anime, and they think that that on its own constitutes fair use. It sometimes, well, it doesn't. What fair use is if you had footage of something on the screen, you need to be talking about what is exactly going on the screen at that point in time. That's the only way you're going to get a solid argument for fair use, and sometimes they won't even look at that.
So this is the crap side to YouTube, basically. They don't care about fair use at all. I've ruined everything.
What have you done?
Don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, YouTube don't care. They will mostly always side with whoever the copyright holder is, and if the copyright holder says, no, that's not fair use, even if it is, your video can get taken down. Your channel can have some serious repercussions just for contesting something that is fair use and you are allowed to use, but if that company says no, your video gets pulled. Simple as. And there's not really a lot you can do. A lot of people join networks, which it's not something that any of us have done actually. None of us are part of a network. But apparently they have like systems that can help you. It's just none of us have ever taken that plunge, I suppose.
You can afford lawyers.
Yep.
Yeah. So the first thing is content ID. Content ID isn't that big of a deal. Content ID basically means that sometimes your video will be blocked in certain countries, like I mentioned before, and you can't monetize it. It also means that whoever the copyright holder is gets the money from whatever revenue is made on that video. But a lot of companies who don't own the copyright will try and make false claims on your video. At the minute, when this video is claimed, it's claimed by a Korean company who make infomercial catalogs. Don't know why, just was. So I could contest that and probably get the right to monetize that video back quite easily, but it will take about 20 to 28 days or something like that. But the bad one, the really bad one, is the copyright. And Alan currently has a copyright strike on his account, so he's going to talk to you about that.
Ouch. One day, Alan made a video. He was very happy with the video, and he uploaded the video. And the video just exploded. and had like about 8 copyright strikes, no, not copyright strikes on it, 8 content ID claims, which basically like the automated system picks up specific thing in the video, goes, that's not yours. And I was like, I really want this video to get out. Like at that point, I shouldn't have done this, because I should have taken it back so many more times and tried to re-upload it to get rid of content ID. But after messing around with it for so long, and with the fact that I'd spent so long working on the video beforehand, I was just impatient, and I was like, screw it, I'm going to make these content ID claims, and then my video will go live. And then about a day later, I got my copyright strike. And when you get a copyright strike, YouTube thinks you're an idiot. I got this really condescending little episode of Happy Tree Friends, of all things, and it basically, a little Happy Tree Friends episode teaching me about copyright strikes. And it basically goes through this little process, and it's basically one of the Happy Tree Friends characters just uploading a song to YouTube. And I was like, that's not what I did. It's like, you shouldn't do this. I'm like, I know I shouldn't do that, I didn't do that. But anyway, I got my copyright strike, and what a copyright strike is basically you lose some functions on your account. Currently I'm not allowed to upload over 15 minutes. I am not allowed to do live streams. There are a couple of other little bits and pieces here and there, and I'm not allowed to monetize any of my videos until the strike goes away. So I can't make any money off of the stuff I put up there for 6 months until my strike goes away on the 10th of July, which is a couple of weeks before my birthday, so I'll be thanking YouTube for that.
Can you watch that Happy Tree Friends video without getting the copyright ban?
No.
It's copyrighted.
If somebody's downloaded it and then re-uploaded it onto YouTube.
That is sweet irony. You don't get redirected to the video that you've got the strike.
Yeah. It's just a never-ending loop of Happy Tree Friends.
Sorry.
So how to avoid content ID. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So the examples that we've got here are crop the video. A friend Ken cropped the video to make it widescreen. Less likely to get picked up by these automated systems. This is one of my videos. It's got a border around it with the logo of the anime on there. Less likely to get picked up. And mirroring the video, so flipping the video. YouTube are getting wise to this though. That specific one, YouTube are getting very wise to.
And also don't do it if you've got Roman text on the screen, because it'll be very obvious that you've done it. Yeah.
So the basic advice is to just try lots of things. If you're having problems with content ID, take the video down, edit it a bit, and put it back up. See if that works. And if it doesn't work, you can always try again, so you don't need to be sad.
One handy thing, one thing that YouTube has done to help content creators to do this sort of stuff recently is while you're uploading a new video, if the content ID system picks something up, it will tell you before you make the video go live, kind of like what Alan was describing there. So you do, like, you never used to be able to do this. About a year ago, it never gave you the option. You just uploaded the video, you'd get the content ID claim, you'd get the copyright strike if you didn't act immediately, and it was a bad time for everyone. So now at least you get the option, because YouTube's quite good now as well, in that when you start uploading something, it doesn't automatically publish it when it finishes. You have to press a button to say, yes, I want this to go live. So if there's a content ID claim on there, you have that option to go, okay, something's wrong with this. I need to, dial it back. So at least they are trying to help in the best way they can. It's an automated system. It's not perfect, but at least they are doing something. As long as you don't get that first claim in the first place, they're generally all right. But as Alan's found out, as soon as you get one, it's very hard to fight back.
But at the end of the day, even though we have to put up with so much bullshit because of the content ID system, it has to be there. Because if it wasn't, people could just upload episodes and episodes of everything and make money off of other people's creations, which is not cool.
Or, as we found, we do, Ebby, Alan and myself, we do another thing bi-weekly called the Oko Anime Club. And one good thing about content ID and having copyright on YouTube is we recently found a couple of weeks ago someone's been re-uploading our videos.
Yep.
So we got that sorted out fairly post-haste, but that's why that system exists. Not just to protect the big companies, but to protect you as well.
So that's the boring stuff out of the way. That's the worst part of YouTube, is trying to deal with the content ID system and just trying to figure all of that out, and it makes you really sad. So congratulations. You made your first video. You did good. So a lot of people are going to want to know, how do I get my video out there? How do people see my video? How do I involve myself in the community, because now I'm technically a part of that community, and it's really, really simple. All of those questions sort of link together, and this was one of the things that I got asked the most when I was trying to ask people what they would like to hear about. A lot of people want to know, how do I make friends on YouTube? How do I get views on my video? And how do I grow my channel? And all of those things are basically the same question. Or they have the same answer anyway. So what you want to do is involve yourself in the community as much as possible. So try asking people if they want to collaborate with you, or I don't know, what would your suggestions be?
Actually, did you just want to show the next slide quickly, because most of what I'm going to talk about is in the social media section. But yeah, this is the YouTube anime hierarchy. You can find it by tweeting any of the people at the top there, and it's basically a big Google Doc that shows every single person that we currently know about in the anime community. And it's just a great way to find channels and see who it is you want to collaborate with, and see new people you want to watch, because you want to move on to social media now. Because the best way to get your channel out there and grow is just via networking. Because if you do just make consistent quality uploads and people find them, you can by chance just grow on your own. But the best way to grow and the best way to have fun with the community is by getting involved with everyone else. So with the YouTube side of things, it's a case of you will be commenting on other people's videos, they will recognize your name, and so when it comes to the time when you do make your first video, and say you then send it off to this person who you've been interacting with and they know who you are, they're much more likely to actually pick up your content and share it amongst their subscribers. I mean, I've got 15,000 subscribers at the moment, which is more than these guys, but a fairly respectable and fairly low amount in comparison to a lot of other people. But
brag more, they don't look jealous enough yet.
But I've many times, just people who have commented on many of my videos going back to when I first started, and then people who I know just via social media, and I was like, yeah, these guys are cool. And so when just a couple of times these people who I recognise have sent me videos, I've watched them and sent them feedback and helped them grow in that regard. This isn't something that you can do out of the blue. You can't just be like, right, I've got 0 subscribers, I've never spoken to another human being who wasn't my mum in my life. Let's message Guguk and ask him to watch my video and send it amongst his people, because that's just going to annoy people, and it's also just not going to be found amongst the other traffic of everything else that they're receiving in terms of correspondence.
Just going back to, can I do this? Yeah. Just going back to this does list like every single person that we know about that's in the community. So it lists people who have like 5 subscribers. It's a really good way to find channels your size, because, like you were saying, you don't want to bother people who are like Giguk or whatever, because they probably won't see it. But the smaller channels have a bigger chance of seeing it, and you have a good chance of just finding each other and being able to create content together, which is kind of the point. One thing that I have noticed, and I don't know why this is that it seems like new YouTubers seem to happen in like generations, and they always seem to be like really close to each other, and I don't know how that happens. I would love to know. But yeah, basically just use your social networking to your advantage. Tweet your videos out, use hashtags. I don't know, has anyone else got anything else to say?
Well, one of the reasons I got into YouTube is so I could be part of the community, because I come from this island just a bit down called Australia. And I started out there, I'm still there, but I don't know anyone around my local area who likes anime. I don't really have many people connected in my local area who know what I'm talking about half the time. So I saw this group on YouTube, I wanted to become a part of it. I started making videos, and one day this person called Bizarre Jelly 5 left a comment on my video and then invited me to become a part of other things, and it's just a great thing that you can start building on. And you'll start meeting more people and you'll just have a fantastic time. That's all I want to say.
So that's basically like everything we have to offer you in terms of starting your channel and, I don't know, just trying to get involved in the community. That's basically everything we have to say to you. Unless Alan looked like he was breathing in to say, I want to say something. Okay. So basically, we're going to do Q&A, so if anyone has any questions, we'll answer them, or if you want to ask us outside the panel and you see us around in the weekend, that's fine, we'll answer there too.
How are we doing for time?
25 past 4.
Is that good?
That is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got ages. Right, cool.
5 minutes.
Let's do some questions.
I've got a question about, once you've made your first video, how long do you tend to take on average to get it from your computer onto YouTube, as in upload time? Does that depend?
There's a lot of
This very much heavily depends both on how much is in your video, how long your video is, and it's just how good your internet connections and stuff like that. So for example, with the amount of different edits and amounts of stuff on my timeline when I'm editing a video, my render time is like an hour and a half or something, but I've got quite a fast computer for it. Like if I were to render the same video on like my laptop or something like that, it would just break and explode. But for me, in terms of getting it from I finished the video to rendering is about an hour and a half, and then through uploading is about another hour, and then there's some processing time in there as well. So straight from render, like click render, to live and processed, it's about 3 to 4 hours or something like that. Did anyone else have any different numbers?
Yeah.
Just something worthwhile to mention is that YouTube doesn't want to give up on you uploading your video. Sometimes if your internet crashes out, it will retain the memories of like uploading it, and it will keep on going. So even if it's taking an entire day, like if you've got Australian internet connection, which is not as fast as this lovely place, then you will still be able to upload no matter what. And it takes me about 2 hours usually on average, and mine aren't that complex.
When it comes to internet and uploading videos to YouTube and similar services like that, what you'll find is the UK specifically, it's not about how fast your internet is download, it's all about your upload rate. And the majority of internet providers generally have a solid 1 meg upload rate. If you're on broadband, if you're on fibre, that pretty much is always the same. It seems like UK ISPs are more bothered about giving you more download rather than your upload rate. So you'll find that it's generally solid across the board, but it really depends on the stability of your connection than anything else. So, I mean, for me, for example, my internet is pretty good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. But because my computer's a bit rubbish, or it used to be amazing, but it's a bit crap now, from going from like Alan's controller, from clicking render to uploading the video, I'd say it probably takes me overnight, only because the upload time takes so long that I have to leave it and just go to bed. So I couldn't give you an exact answer, but I generally have to leave my computer on overnight to get it done.
Would you advise not using the computer while you're uploading?
No. Yeah, try. Well, you can. I'd advise against using the internet while you're uploading, but...
whilst you're uploading is generally fine if you're doing other things on your computer, but whilst you're rendering, if you're doing other things, because rendering is incredibly processor heavy, so if you do other things, it could make your computer explode, or it could just it could just really slow down your times. Because I mean, I think at one point when I was rendering some crazy video, I just got a blue screen of death halfway through it because of how
I had a friend who had the same thing. His video finished rendering and the computer just immediately, as soon as it finished rendering, the computer said no.
Mine's done that before. Mine's blue screen right at the end of the render.
We've all been there.
Yeah, I think my render times and upload times are pretty much overnight most of the time, because I have videos that take 13 hours to render sometimes. No reason. They're not like super incredibly intricate or anything. They just take 13 hours to render.
That was a great day we broke your computer.
Yeah, my PSU died because I was rendering a video, and that took a few days to repair. So.
One cool trick that you can do with YouTube is, because what used to be the case was you'd upload a video and it would publish straight away, like I mentioned. Obviously we talked before about how you can click the button to make it go live whenever you're ready. You can also schedule videos as well. So if you start uploading a video and you think to yourself, well, this thing's going to finish uploading at 2 o'clock in the morning, no one's going to see this when it comes out. Like none of my subscribers are going to see it in their feeds because it's going to be buried under Minecraft videos. What you can do is what's called scheduling. So you can literally set a date and a time when your video is going to go live. So you can kind of plan based on who watches your videos, because YouTube has all of this information. So you go, right, okay, well, the majority of my user base is in the UK, so let's schedule this for tomorrow at tea time. that guarantees that not only is your video going to be uploaded and ready to go, but it's also good. You don't have to be at your computer to click that button to say, "Yep, we're good to go."
So can you schedule tweets and things like that to match it? Or?
You can schedule. Well, you can integrate things into YouTube, so YouTube automatically tweets out for you. Tumblr's really good for that as well because you can schedule Tumblr posts to whatever you want. So that can literally say anything you want.
I guess I was wondering okay, I was just thinking because you know the URL that your video's going to have before it goes live. Okay.
Yeah, it will give you the URL as soon as you start uploading.
Yeah.
It's just if you go to that URL, it'll just be a black screen saying.
And it's really easy as well because literally on your video manager page for that specific video, you just tick a box to tweet when public, basically, and because you link your accounts, and literally the moment it goes live, there'll be an automated tweet.
Can you change the automated tweet because they're really boring? They're like, I uploaded a video. Here it is. Thank you, YouTube.
Sometimes it tweets in like Turkish.
Everyone's got that problem. Like every time her live show goes up, YouTube will automatically tweet in a different language every week. So they always take bets.
The best part is when you integrate everything. So you upload your video to YouTube, and then that'll automatically put a post onto Facebook and go to Twitter, and Facebook's linked with Twitter, so Facebook will tweet to Twitter. It'll go on Tumblr. Tumblr will go to Facebook and Twitter, and you end up with just like this mess. Like Ken is the worst for that. If you upload a video, you get like 14 messages of the same thing because all his stuff is interconnected. He's gotten better for that though. Yeah.
Any other questions?
I've got two. One's really small. First one is, when it gives you, like, says there's copyright in it, is it actually specific as to what the copyright is, or it just says there's copyright in this video?
It tells you exactly what it is.
You stole my answer. It gives you a timestamp and says from this time to this time there's copyrighted material.
To give the best example that I've come across, when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I did a live stream, and it was a live stream where I took a shot of Jägermeister every 10 minutes. That was a good night.
But you made a gingerbread house.
I made a gingerbread. That was amazing. I was drunk, so naturally I drew a knob on it. Anyway, there was one point where I went to the bathroom, and everyone in the chat was telling my girlfriend to put Darude Sandstorm on, and she did. And I came back immediately to a content ID claim while I was doing the live stream. And yeah, I had to go to an illicit YouTube downloading service to download my own live stream, to cut it out, to re-upload it.
The second question was, because years ago I used to use Windows Movie Maker, which is quite fun, but what would you say is the more, a slightly better version, more that was user-friendly?
Sony Vegas. Yeah, I think the logical step up is just Sony Vegas, but you are on Windows, I take it, with that. And you
I had made videos for quite a while because my laptop died a few years back and then life got in the way a bit.
Yeah, I know the feel.
I've been wanting to get back into it, so I just have a lot of things I like.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say the next logical step up is Sony Vegas. It's a great program, really easy to use. The only problem that you have to worry about is that it's very prone to shitting itself. So you're going to have to Control S like all the time because otherwise it just dies on you. But you can, you don't have to get the latest version. You don't even have to get the pro version. Just any of the old ones that you can find kicking about are going to do you the same kind of job because they haven't changed much in all the revisions.
Older versions are generally a lot cheaper as well.
Yeah.
Because the professionals buy the newest one for £1 billion.
I wasn't too picky with the Windows Movie Maker one, so I'm like, I just want a little step up from there.
You talked about rendering. What about encoding and something? Do you render straight to the final format, or do you just put it in intermediate and then re-encode to your? Does YouTube do that for you, or?
You will generally render to the settings that are safe for YouTube, and just generally the settings that give you the best quality. I always render in 1080p MP4, and then I mean I'm really bad at this because I mean I've just got loads of hard drive space, so I just fill it up like a monkey. But I mean you can also a great program to use is Handbrake, which is a free program, really easy to use, and if you just basically check the web optimized option, and you'll basically render it out into exactly what you want for YouTube, and the file size isn't going to mess you about.
Sweet.
Did you have a question as well?
Yeah, so you said Sony Vegas, is that a paid thing?
Yeah, you have to pay for it. I mean
Assuming you want to stay on a certain side of the law,
Yeah,
what
basically,
would you recommend that if they don't have much money?
the most recent revisions of it are very expensive. But if you go back and get one of the older revisions, you can pick it up for like 20 quid or something.
But the newer revisions run at about £500 or £600
Yeah,
each.
something like that.
So the newer revisions are the ones that all the professionals buy, which is why it's so expensive.
Yeah.
But they're not going to. Yeah, but the older ones are quite easy to pick up.
Can you get discount like student licensing, that kind of thing, if you're going with students?
You should be able to do something through your uni if and get stuff through there. Or actually, did you want to talk about renting equipment as well?
Yeah. One of the things we probably should have mentioned when we were talking about equipment, when I first started YouTube, I had no equipment whatsoever. I didn't even have a camera, I had nothing. The way I got around that is my girlfriend goes to Manchester Met University, and I just got her to rent out equipment for me. She's not even a media student, I just got to say, go and pick me up a camcorder and use that. So, like, really do just use whatever resources are available to you, so if you can get a hold of things without paying for them, we got, like, they were old camcorders, but they were pretty high tech considering, you know, the fact that I paid nothing for them. You essentially got it for a week, and I was able to use that time to make a video and then take it back. So, you know, if you are a student, especially, have a look at what's available to you. You don't necessarily have to be a film student to be able to rent out equipment.
And also just on the editing side of things, in anyone's uni, you're going to have like a suite with the software available to you. So if you're able to do it at uni, you can just stay in school and edit your videos there.
There are various YouTubers that use like if they're like video, especially video gamers, how they have like use like a screen, like a computer screen or sometimes a TV screen. What equipment is best to use to make it clear and crisp rather than looking like very old grainy and you can barely hear it or see it?
You want to use for computer. I'm sorry. For computer games, as in PC games or whatever, you'd want to use Fraps probably. A lot of people use Fraps. A lot of people use OBS. Just use Audacity to record your audio separately. That makes the game audio. If you're talking about games, it makes the PC audio and your audio most optimal by using those two programs. With TV screens, if you're talking specifically about consoles, you need to look into getting a capture card, which can run about £100, something like that.
The cheapest capture cards run at about 80 quid, but don't buy them. Just don't buy them, they don't work.
But that's the best advice I've got because...
Fraps is dirt cheap. You can literally pick it up for less than a tenner. Audacity is free, and it's really good. It does everything you're going to need it to do. And the best advice is pretty much the same as what you've just said. Record your game audio and your voice audio separately and combine them together in an editor, because that's how you
another
get it
point
optimal.
is that OBS basically does the same thing as Fraps, and that's free.
Yeah.
So
And you can stream through OBS as well. So if you plan on doing live streaming, OBS is your go-to. You can stream and record at the same time. So if you want to re-upload a stream that you've done to YouTube, I mean, if you have a Twitch account, it does that automatically anyway. You can tell I've done this before. I had a gaming channel before I started the YouTube stuff, but that was very short-lived. But yeah, if you want to keep like a solid record of your streams and keep them on your computer to re-upload or just for your own personal use, you can do that through OBS. It's a really good tool.
Hope that was a good answer to that question, for sure. Yeah.
How much thought did you guys give to your usernames, and have any of you changed from your original? Following on from your previous remark.
This is a soft spot.
Tell us more, Cam.
Days, literally days.
My username is a reference to a video game that I really like, and I thought it'd be really cool to be called Bizarre Jelly 5. I was wrong. I hate my username. I wish I could change it all the time, and it's horrible that people now refer to me as Bejezzers.
Bejezzers.
I'm sorry.
My original username was already taken. It was AmeChibi. I thought that was clever. But I just decided that I'd add a word on the end, and I said, that'll do. I never thought it'd take off.
My username is kind of like a fusion of old things. Like when I was in sort of net handle limbo for a while, and then I was really into BlazBlue at the time, and I was like, there's Calamity Trigger, and there's Continuum Shift. I'll be Calamity Shift, and then I sort of like took that username, changed the word on the front a few times. And then when I went to start YouTube, I was like, let's put like an anime word on the front, and so I became Back a Shift. And there you go. And now he's going to cry.
I've been through several handles in the past, but only ever for like social stuff like forums and things like that. And my channel began when a big group of us got together and started working on our website, which is otakukato.com. And that's kind of when the videos for my channel first came into being. Like, the first videos that I ever did aren't even recorded at my house. They were done using a controlled team of experts, a secure location with a near body pillow as a backdrop. I want that back. It's not even mine. Best backdrop ever. But anyway, the topic of what my net handle should be came up then, because I was essentially restarting everything from scratch, and I just couldn't do it. I was so unhappy with every username that I had in the past, and I knew that I wanted something that I'd be happy with and that I'd stick with for ages. And it literally took the best part of a week, didn't it?
Yeah.
I started the conversation at day one. We were at this house for a full week, and I didn't get it until the day before we left.
Like, we had like spider diagrams and everything, and he was miserable the entire time.
I was literally in tears at some point.
It was the salt mine.
Yeah, it was horrible. And I eventually came up with Tensei Twister because it combines a few things that I like. So the Twister, or basically Tensei is Japanese for rebirth, and that kind of came from the idea of that I was reinventing myself, and I really liked Shin Megami Tensei. I also like Gurren Lagann, and that's where the Twister part came from, because a drill is a twister, and then that also kind of leads into the Twister being part of the spiral and cycle of rebirth. So I thought it was incredibly clever and extremely pompous. I want to change it.
Yeah, I know.
Because I know what I want now. Like, I've come up with a name that would be perfect.
But you've got a logo now.
But I've got a logo now. My logo is badass. I love my logo. But yeah, I've got this idea that I really like, and what I'll probably do is maybe use that if I move into something else, maybe something a bit more serious than stupid figure videos. But I'll stick with what I've got for now, mainly because of the work that went into it.
So you said you can't change it. Do you literally mean you can't change it, or just because of all the trouble of no one knows who you are? And
Because we've been doing this for so long, it's like building a brand. So if you suddenly changed your name, like change your entire, it would change your entire kind of. You'd have to start from point one.
A lot of more successful YouTubers can get away with it because they just make it so that their channel name is their real name. You know, they were known as, I don't know, Jimmy for ages. So they changed their username to Jimmy, and people still know who it is. But with us, since we're in a really niche community for a start, we don't have that option. Because we're small, we don't get that option, and because basically we've branded ourselves as Back a Shift, as Tensei Twister or whatever. So that's basically why we can't really change our usernames. Has anyone else got?
I just want to check something. I just want to say that whilst this guy was in his situation where he couldn't think of a username and we kept giving him suggestions, he continuously turned down that we wanted his channel to be called Rim Rider.
I still think that I should have called it Ramen Rider.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
Has anyone else got any more questions?
Yeah, down the back.
How do you feel about sort of interdisciplinary kind of collaboration? Because like obviously like there's like certain limited to challenges to like sort of collaborate with some like a type of like YouTuber who's like maybe interested in the same things but like takes a different approach.
So in case of just like finding middle ground with
Well, I think a lot of the collaborations we have done are basically based on projects that we had ongoing, and then we have new guests each time. So as we mentioned, we do Aqua Anime Club, which is just a fortnightly live stream where we discuss a specific show. And through that, we have a guest every time, and that's just a great way to collaborate and get to know people, just because you have someone new there, and it's a good way to get someone else and help someone else out. There's a couple of other projects like that, but in terms of more kind of one-on-one collaborations, it's a case of like, right, here is the thing I want to make, who else is interested in that specific thing, and who else is known for that specific thing, and then they go from there.
On the subject of Aqua Anime Club as well, because we mentioned that this is like a really niche thing that we do. Like, anime YouTube is a niche kind of area.
I would like to point out that there are less than 400. There are about 450 people in the entire anime community, which is less people than are at this convention.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's how small it is.
But
as
like
in posting videos.
As in posting videos
yeah, being
and
active
making
and stuff.
content
Yeah.
and active and stuff.
But what I do, anime merchandise, is a niche within a niche. There's even less.
There's about 10 of you, maybe?
Probably, regular post content, I'd probably say about 20 people, maybe a bit less than that. I can only name a few, like off the top of my head.
Does that cross over with the toy reviewers? Right.
No, I'd say like specifically anime merchandise rather than full-on toy reviewers, because there are loads of like straight-up toy reviewers. But yeah, like what I do specifically is like this big niche. And Aqua Anime Club is great for that because it gives me an opportunity to get involved with the full anime community, not just people that are within my realm. And that's really good as well because I've got a lot of crossover. And I get people that watch my videos that couldn't give a crap about merchandise. They just like me, which is great.
Because he's charming?
Shut up.
So if you've got one more question, and then we'll let everyone go so you can go to the opening ceremony and have fun. Yeah.
Have any of you been contacted by studios or manufacturers that ask for
Yeah.
review? Or?
Yeah, Cam.
I'm in cahoots with Mami Tan from Good Smile Company. We're quite familiar with each other. She did on my channel. I recently did a video about bootleg anime figures, which is kind of like this long, like almost like a lecture, as it were, just talking about that. And she did a quote for me for that. And since that video was so successful, we've been talking and stuff. Haven't managed to get any free stuff yet. But that's because she's the American representative and there's like shipping issues.
Like E2043.
E2043 also contacted me and asked me if I wanted some free stuff, but I had to turn that down because they deal primarily in garage kits and stuff like that, and it's a bit of a grey area when it comes to merchandise, and I didn't want to damage the relationship that I already have with Good Smile by accepting a figure that may or may not have been a bit dubious. So yeah.
Back in Australia, there's a company called Hanabi and they produce anime and they just provide me with promotional material. I got contacted by them one day just because I said I was enjoying a certain anime and they sent out a copy. They asked me if I'd like to review it. I did a review and we've had a good relationship since then of them providing me with anime and then me chatting about it on the YouTubes.
I've had some really weird offers before that are like, oh, you seem like the kind of person that would like our jewellery. If you promote the jewellery, you can get it for free. But that's the only sort of thing that I've had personally in the UK.
You've had network invites.
I've had network invites.
Yeah.
I've had
Really dodgy network
I've had
invites.
a lot of network invites. But if you want to try and seek out those opportunities, I don't think you have to wait around for someone to contact you. There's no harm in emailing Manga UK and being like, I'm a reviewer, could you maybe send me some promotional DVDs or whatever? Yeah.
The best thing to do in regards to that is rather than straight up emailing someone and going, hey you, give me stuff. Best thing to do is to write like an email. It's called an introduction email. So you basically just say, hello, this is me, this is what I do, just wanted to let you know about it. Don't ask for anything straight away, just make them aware that you're there. They will appreciate it, they may keep an eye on you, and then maybe when you would like achieve certain things, just message them again, just be like, hey, just wanted to let you know, I've done this. And see what they say. That's pretty much what happened with me.
I did that once. I sent off this massive thing because I wanted to get a discount on a Gundam. So I wanted to start making videos about Gunpla, which completely failed and left me with a massive hiatus earlier this year. But anyway, I sent off this message list. I linked one of my Gundam reviews of the series. And I was like, yeah, so I want to make some Gunpla videos. And I messaged that's a massive list. And then at the end of it, they responded and they went, okay. That was the entire message.
Just with a couple of those companies that do try and help you out, and they say they're part of a network. Some of the times they are just looking to make money off of you. They get a cut of your ad revenue, and they might promise you a bunch of things.
We don't
but
get much revenue anyway.
You might not get it. And yeah, if you're like me, you don't go for that anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's basically it.
Will the slides in the video be online afterwards?
Hopefully, if this is recorded, it will be uploaded to youtube.com/bizarrejelly5, and all of the slides will be in the description. They'll be on Google Docs.
We'll post it. We'll post it on like the AmeChibi Facebook page and stuff like that.
It'll be
as
up
well,
in like
so.
a week. But basically, the YouTube community is this great place that has so many wonderful people that I absolutely adore working with, and we all do. and you should come and join it. You should give it a go. Like, if it fails, it doesn't matter. You gave it a go. That's the most important thing. So that is the message that I want everyone. Yeah, that's the message I want everyone to take away from this: is that you can try, and if it fails, you're not lost anything. But if it succeeds, you've got something really awesome. So
You might make some friends.
Yeah.
If any of you make a video, tell us.
Yeah.
For God's sake, tell us, and we will spread it out. We'll let you know. Just say, hey, I was at the AmeChibi YouTube panel. I did this, and we'll do everything in our power to get it noticed.
And last thing, like we mentioned, we are a part of a thing called the Yoko Anime Club. We've got a panel for our 1 year anniversary on Sunday at 10 AM, which I know no one is going to be at, because it's 10 AM on a Sunday.
I'm going to be very hungover.
It's for hardcore people.
But we're watching Pretend Inverted, which is showing tomorrow, so if you want to come along to that, watch Pretend Inverted, and we'll have a nice discussion about it. It'll be real cool.
Yeah, it's being shown tomorrow at 1 PM.
So thank you.